My name is Patrick DePriest. I'll be presenting today with Kayla Barbosa. Um, we appreciate everyone being here. Please note that if you know other individuals that want to hop on, they can still register for the webinar using the link on our webpage. I'm an energy policy analyst with the Oregon Department of Energy. I'm helping facilitate and moderate this webinar. And today's webinar aims to provide an overview and walkthrough of the application portal for the Community Heat Pump Deployment Program. This webinar will be recorded and the slides and recording will be posted on our website. Before we jump into the slides, I want to start by introducing some of the other staff on the webinar who have been working on this program. And I'll start with our main presenter for today, which is Kayla.
Hi, thanks, Patrick. I'm Kayla Barbosa, and I am an incentive analyst for both of the heat pump programs. So I will be one of the people who are on the other side if you have any questions or emails directed towards us. And then I'll be presenting today.
Thanks, Kayla. How about we move on to James?
Hi, James Kogel. I'm a policy analyst here at Odo.
Thanks, James. Sarah, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Sarah Bajevitz, and I am the other incentive analyst for the heat pump programs with Kayla.
Great. Do we have Pandian on the line? Sure. No? Okay, he's not on. Doug, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, I'm Doug Baer. I'm the Senior Incentives Analyst in the Wildfire Program, assisting with development of the Community Heat Pump Program.
Thanks, Doug. Patricia, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Patricia. I'm here to help with the WebEx. So if you have any questions, just please put them in the chat and we'll do what we can to help you out. Thank you.
Thanks. And finally, I'll have Stephanie introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Stephanie Cruz. I'm a facilities engineer with our energy efficiency and conservation section, and I've been providing technical support for the development of this program.
Thanks. And if I could remind everybody to remain muted when they're not speaking, that would be great for our sound quality. And we will get going. So I wanted to first take a moment to let you know a little bit more about the Oregon Department of Energy. So what you see on the screen is our vision, mission, and how we achieve that mission. At ODA, we help Oregonians make informed decisions and maintain a resilient and affordable energy system. We advance solutions to shape an equitable clean energy transition, protect the environment and public health, and responsibly balance energy needs and impacts for current and future generations. You can go ahead and jump. Thank you, Kayla. I'm going to say a few words now about using WebEx, this webinar platform, in case you are new to the platform. If you have questions, you can use the raise hand function, or you can ask the question in the chat. We won't be providing answers in the chat, but we will instead answer them aloud. And where it's appropriate and timely to the topic being discussed by Kayla, I will pose questions to her and other staff during the presentation. Otherwise, questions will be saved until after the presentation. And any questions we don't get to, we will work to answer following the presentation. You can, of course, email us additional questions you have following the presentation to the Community Heat Pump email or any of the emails of people present today. So again, you can use the raise hand function to ask a question. And for those of you who are attending by phone, you can use *3 to raise your hand. We'll unmute you and call on you to ask your question. So does anyone have questions about WebEx before I begin, or we move on? Okay, I'm not seeing any, so we can move on. I'm going to quickly go over the objectives for today's webinar. The main objective being to provide an overview of the program application, including a review of how to create a profile to start an application, as well as highlights of key sections within the application form. We'll also discuss resources available on the program webpage to help applicants, including resources aimed at helping interested entities locate and communicate with other potential program partners. Finally, we will provide time to answer additional questions about the application form and the review process. So now on your screen, you should see the program schedule, which we did provide at the previous webinar on March 2nd as well. So as you'll see, the opportunity announcement for this opportunity was released on February 24th. And then the application portal itself was opened on March 6th. We will be taking questions and building out our FAQ for this program throughout this program period, throughout the application period. So questions about the form and the program are due to us by no later than March 27th so that we can provide a final version of that FAQ by March 31st. The opportunity period will close on April 7th, so all applications for this are due by April 7th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, after which ODO will review applications for completeness and eligibility, and where necessary, ODO will reach out to request additional information from an applicant necessary for review. After eligibility and completeness review, a competitive review will be completed using the scoring criteria provided in the opportunity announcement that's under section 3.2 of the opportunity announcement. And then finally, we have provided some approximated dates in May for the completion of that review and as well for the beginning of notifications on awards in mid-May. All right, let me just double check to see that no questions have come in on the chat. And then now I will pass the presentation on to Kayla, who's going to start reviewing the program webpage and the walkthrough.
Perfect. Thanks, Patrick. So the first thing we want to share is this section that's new to the Community Heat Pump Deployment Program webpage. You can find this section on the right-hand side of the webpage once you're on it. And if you're on, and it'll be underneath the resources section, and in that resources section is where the FAQ will be. And then if you're on your phone, you'll be able to see this section beneath the meetings section underneath all the presentations and other webinars we've had. And then the things I wanted to highlight on this section are, if you click those green numbers, the 22-025, that is a link to the opportunity announcement that we spoke about earlier. In the opportunity announcement, there will be the scoring criteria and the program schedule that was shown on the last slide. And then just below the applicant help section in blue, there is the applicant resources. This is a downloadable resources page link. Here you'll find resources that include like website links to websites that may assist in answering questions in the application, especially for the community description demographic questions. And then right below that is the online application guide. In case you forget some things from this webinar or just need a refresher later, most of the processes that are going to be shown today will be in this guide. And finally, the Regional Administrator Partnership Interest List. Due to the interest expressed in the last webinar, this is the link to help with anybody looking for partners, which I'll explain more on the next slide. And then finally, if you've read all the resources and are ready to apply, you can click the Apply Now link, which is right there. Are there any questions so far?
I don't see anything yet.
So this is the Regional Administrator Partnership Interest List. The entities that have already responded to our form are blocked out, but if you're interested in seeing that, you can always click on that link that I shared. We have had 11 responses as of now. And you'll always be able to tell how updated the version of this list is by looking at the last updated date, which is covering it right now, but it's right here on the bottom left of each page. And the final updated list will be posted on March 29th. The information submitted here is from those interested in partnering, is for those interested in partnering, and is sorted by region to make it easier to find the region you're wanting to partner with. In the next column, you'll see the entity name, the desired role they wish to take, and their contact information that they provided to us. As a reminder, this list and form were created for informational purposes only and does not indicate an endorsement of any applicant or proposed partner entity by Odo. And then a couple of other things I wanted to point out on this page are the linkable sections in this paragraph. If you're interested and want to be added to the list, just click on that forum. Not forum, sorry, I keep saying that, form. The next linkable thing is if you're ready to complete an application, you can just click application right here. If you click Oda's website here, you'll be taken to the program webpage. And if you are wanting to see that opportunity announcement again, it is linked right here. Another thing I wanted to highlight is you can always download a copy of this list or print from here at the top. And then the actual portal itself, there's a few things I wanted to highlight on that.
Hey, Kayla, I'm going to jump in real quick because we have a question in the chat, which I'll have James answer since it's relevant to what you were just on. They ask, can you please clarify the difference between regional administrators and partners and how that relates to who's applying?
So the regional administrators would be the applicant who would submit the application, and partners could be another eligible entity that could help facilitate the provision of financial assistance to the public. But the performance agreement signed with the Oregon Department of Energy that kind of the terms and conditions related to the grant would be between the applicant, the regional administrator, and the Oregon Department of Energy, and any agreement between the partner and the regional administrator would need to have its own contract, and that would be between the regional administrator and the partner. Does that clarify?
Yeah, I think that's right. Thanks, James. And then, of course, then the regional administrator would be responsible with the help of the partners for processing those requests for financial assistance to purchase and install heat pumps from public. So we have another question about who is eligible to apply, and I will copy the list of eligible applicants into the chat. So Kayla, you can just go on with what you were working on.
Okay. Let me get back to that. Okay. So once you click on the apply now link, it'll take you to this application homepage. And there is actually a list of all of those who can apply right here. And then just a few things I want to highlight on this page before we actually get into the application itself. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom of the screen in black, you'll see the select language. So you can complete the application in a different language if need be. You can also, once you click the drop down, if you type 2 or 3 letters quickly, it will let you type instead of having to scroll through this list. But it will show you the application in a different language. For today, we're going to have it in English because that is my predominantly spoken language. And another thing I wanted to highlight is if you ever get lost and need to get back to this page, you can do so by clicking on the financial/incentive dropdown. and then clicking on the community heat pump program. We're bringing you right back here. Another thing I wanted to highlight is that due date right here. Applications are due April 7th of next month, and they're due at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Another thing I wanted to highlight was this section here. Your application progress will be saved each time you click next. If you click previous or leave a page before clicking next, your progress won't be saved. So just be sure to always remember to click next to save. And then there's a couple of options you can do from this page. You can complete a grant application, amend a grant application, view or check the status of your application, or if you're wanting to, you can also withdraw your application. And then last but not least, if you have not registered for any of our other programs or portals, that will be your first step in applying. And I will briefly go over that now. So to register, you can either click the I would like to complete an application from the dropdown, or you can click the sign in button at the top. Both are going to take you to the sign in page, which will show you how to register. And this is the sign in page. So after you click, I want to complete a grant application, it'll take you here. Or if you click on sign in, it'll take you to this page. And the registration button is right here at the top next to the sign in. And once you click that, you will be taken to this screen where you will fill out your email, username, password, and confirm your password. Here, be sure to remember your username. It's actually what you need to log in, not your email. So because of that, we actually recommend you using your email as your username just to make things easier. So you would just type in the same information here as you are typing in here. So your email and username, you can type in the same thing, just your email for both. And then just be sure to follow your password rules. And then after you click register, it'll take you to a basic profile page where you'll just fill in some basic contact information such as your name, address, and phone number. And then finally, after you've registered, you should be ready to apply. And is there any questions about the registration process?
I do not see any current questions. I'll let you know.
Okay. I've already created a sign in for this purpose. So I'm just going to sign in. But once you've registered and you're at this home page, complete the grant application. So a couple of things I wanted to highlight on this page. If this is the type of organization you can be to apply, and you can click any of these depending on what type of organization you are. And the only difference is if you are an electric utility, you'll get this pop-up saying that you will need to partner as an electric utility. The next thing I wanted to highlight was some of the questions are not required. So to know the difference, if there is a red asterisk next to the question, that means that it is required. If there isn't, that means you don't have to fill that out to go to the next section. And then in the organization state section, you can type quickly to find Oregon if you're in Oregon, if not, find the correct state. And then this question is optional. You can work with a consultant or contractor, but you don't have to. And if you're not planning to, just leave it blank, as I have in this example. And then in this section, the qualification section. Can you still see what I'm sharing?
Yes.
Okay, cool. I was like, I said the video stopped. So
I think it's just stopped your video of you. All right.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. So the other questions I wanted to highlight was, again, if you're a utility, you want to make sure that this question about partnering is a yes answer, because it is required. And then for this question, are you working with any other community-based organizations? That is for those of you planning to collaborate or work closely with a group that you won't be needing a contracted partnership for. And then the partners' roles, you'll just explain what each of the partners will be doing. And then just to show what happens when you don't fill out a required section, I'm going to erase my answer here and click next. And then it won't let you because I didn't complete the section. But what's nice about this is it'll tell you which question you forgot. And if you click on the blue text, you can go straight to the question that you forgot. And then again, I just have answers and ones and yeses and all of these just for today's purposes. So you click next to save all your answers and move on to the next screen. And then in the community description, the applicant resources page that I showed in the beginning would be really helpful to have open while filling out this section. There's a lot of links in there that can help answer some of these tougher questions. And then another example of a question that changes based off of your answer is in this community assistance section. If you are not planning on using the same method as qualifying an individual as belonging to an environmental justice community, and you click no on this section, you'll get this new question about how you plan to propose an individual. That's the only difference here. It's just that extra question of how. And then an example of showing how to save your answers. Let's say I changed this answer to a full answer, but then I realized I need to go back to a previous slide. If I click previous before I click next, when I go back to that question, the answer won't be saved. So just be sure to click next and then go back if you're wanting to go back. So that way the answer will be saved.
Hi, I'm going to jump in, Kayla, and ask a question from the chat. David asks if the sections in the online form will be numbered to match the sections in the previously provided proposal format. I might have to ask for clarification about, because I was not aware of other proposal formats already released. Maybe James or Doug can answer that question.
So unless it's clarified in the chat, I would assume that it's kind of the numbering in the minimum required information in the opportunity announcement. And in which case that we don't have numbering in the application there, so they won't match. And at this point, there's no expectation that we'll add the numbering in there. But we appreciate the comment, and we'll take that on board for any future rounds or any future opportunity announcements, I should say.
Thanks, James, and thanks for the clarification in the chat, David. I do know that some of the detail within the application was expanded from what was seen in the opportunity announcement as well. All right, Kayla, thanks for pausing.
Yeah. So the next section is the program location section. If you are going to click the region that you are applying for, once you do, the counties will actually auto-populate for you. And then the next question I wanted to highlight is this question: if you are proposing alternative boundaries to define a region, and you click yes, you'll get these 2 additional questions. One to describe the alternative boundaries, and then you'll also have an option to upload a map showing the alternative regional boundaries. We do suggest that if you're uploading a file, you name it something that will help us figure out what section it's for later. So for the section, I would name it alternative regional map for the region that you are applying to, or something to that effect. And for now, I'm just going to click no on that one. And then the program overview section, for the type of financial assistance offered, I just have all of them selected. But you can type in this section to pick either loans, grants, rebates, or incentives, or you can pick multiples like that. But like I said, for this, I just had all of them selected. And then again, for some of these questions, it would be helpful to have the applicant resources open, especially this question about the estimated number of dwellings. And then, are there any questions about this section? Doesn't look like it. I'm going to go ahead and move
No,
on.
I think you're good.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next section. The financial assistance details. On this page, you'll enter the proposed cost that the regional administrator will cover for each relevant purchase and installation. Just be sure that when you're entering numbers in, you don't actually type in the % or dollar signs. It'll actually do that for you. So if I just type in 1 and then enter, it already auto-populates the percentage sign, and then the dollar signs are usually before the field anyway, so that doesn't need to be included. If you do type in % or dollar sign, it will give you an error message like that. So just be sure to only type numbers into these fields. And then below this section, this additional benefits section, you won't have to fill out if you're not planning to offer incentives for other heating or cooling devices that have efficiency similar to or higher than the heat pump. So again, if you're not filling out, and if you forget that, it's always right below the question that you just can skip that or leave blank. I have NA in there just to have something in there. But it looks like there was another question or comment.
Nope, nothing yet. Just a question that we'll take at the end.
Okay, cool. And then again, this is optional. The next section. So this page, you only complete this page if you are proposing higher efficiency standards than are required by rule. Otherwise, you can skip to the next section. And again, you can find the rule on our webpage. And yeah, only follow this section if you are planning to have higher incentive levels for heat pumps with higher efficiency levels in it. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong section. So you can also find these minimum efficiency standards in rule, and then you can find them in the slides from our webinar on March 2nd. And then the next section, this section, you will only fill out if your program plan includes offering higher incentive levels for heat pumps with higher efficiency levels in addition to those base level incentives. And again, if you're not, you don't have to fill anything out on there. Next. And the budget section. So be sure to completely answer the question here. There's also an upload section at the end of the application to upload a budget plan, but be sure that that is in addition to answering this question completely. And then again, I just have ones in here to have something in there, so it'll let me continue to the next slide. But if at any point in the application you log out or need to come back, you can. So I'm just going to show what happens when you do that. You sign out and then sign back in. it'll actually take you to the last section you were on, so that's really helpful. And then the last section is for any supplemental information that you wanted to highlight for your program. You can enter in right here. And then for all of the file uploads, be sure to, again, name them something that'll help us figure out which one you uploaded it to. So you can name it budget, letters of support or collaboration, or other supporting document. Just know that you can only choose one file to upload, so choose wisely. And then if you click next, is there a question?
Yeah, I'll jump in. Sorry. David asked if it's possible to provide the complete list of questions as a static document, such as a PDF, so that a team of proposers can develop answers collaboratively before entering it into the system.
Yeah. I'll actually show that next on how to get to that. Actually, I can show that now. So if you are signed out, you sign back in. I'm gonna go to the homepage. If you are on this drop-down menu and you click view or check the status of my applications, I have like 3 applications in here, so I could show all of the processes, but please make sure you're only applying once. You can either view your application from this application number or the drop down and clicking view application. But when you do, it'll actually give you that whole PDF, the full application, the way you described you would like to see. So that's all here, and it's you're able to download and print a PDF of it. If you right click and then click,
You'll click print here and then
no?
print to PDF. Yeah, print.
Yeah,
Yep,
print. Okay.
that's
So
right.
print, and then you can save as a PDF and then save and print. If you're wanting to see the application in its entirety, but this view application won't let you actually type in any answers. So if you're wanting to go back and actually answer, you'll need to go back to the home page and select the complete grant application. And then another thing I wanted to highlight is if I am completing the application that I had started, you just enter in your signature and it'll auto-populate the date and then you can submit. And so then within an hour, you should get a confirmation email saying that you have completed and submitted your application. And then just some of the other things I wanted to highlight from this homepage, actions that you can take on your application. If you submit it and you decide there's a question you really think that could have been answered better before the deadline on April 7th at 5 p.m., you can click I would like to amend my grant application. And then it's going to give you a drop down of all the applications you have submitted. And you can again click from the number or the drop down. I'm going to do the number this time. You're just going to want to click that you acknowledge that you're wanting to do this and then press submit. And then it'll bring you to here. And then this time, if you're in the amend version, it will let you submit this way. That's only if you're amending. So once you're at the bottom and you've changed your answers to what you wanted them to be, you can go ahead and press submit. And then again, these are different fields that I've forgotten, but we're just gonna ignore that for now. And then another program action you can take aside from the amend and view is you can choose to withdraw your application. Again, it's just going to show you the ones that have been submitted. So that one that is in the amending view is not going to be on here anymore because it's not complete. And then This one you can only click on the drop down, but you'll click the drop down and it'll give you that pop-up that you want to confirm. And if you proceed, the next time you go to the view or check the statuses, you will see that that one has been withdrawn, and then that one's in the amend status, and that one has been submitted. And then, like we said before, you'll usually get a confirmation email for all these program actions, typically within an hour. You'll even get one when you like first register and then when you start an application. And then that was the entirety of the application. So are there any further questions?
Thanks, Kayla. That was great. We have one question I want to come back to from earlier in the chat, and feel free, everyone else, to add additional questions. We'll prioritize questions that are about application completion and review process, but we will take other questions as well. So we had a question in the chat that was, do the recipient homes already have to be purchased in order for an application to qualify? And I'm assuming that would be from the customer end that would be applying to the regional administrator. James, can you take that one?
Sure. So there is a requirement that the applicants be the owner occupant of the structure, the dwelling that the heat pump's getting installed in. If there's any specific scenarios that people have questions about, we'd be happy to chat through those scenarios. So happy to work through any specific scenarios that people have.
And just send those scenarios to the program email listed in blue on this page.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, Kayla.
We've got additional time to take questions, so we'll be sticking around and seeing if anyone has those. Did want to remind everybody that the recording and the slides for this webinar will be uploaded likely by the end of the week to the program webpage. Oh, there we go. I
Thank
see
you.
it. Yeah, go ahead, David, and jump in. Sorry, the hand raise is not super visible on our end.
Sorry, thank you. So I went and downloaded the application guide. So now following along with what Kayla reviewed for us. Just want to make 100% sure I know how to print this off. So before I would be able to print it off, first of all, we have to go in and start the application with the account and all that. And then once we're in, then that's when we can use that print function to create a PDF of it. But we
Correct.
can't
You have
get to
to.
that.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, we can't get to that point until we're logged into the system. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, you would have to start an application. So you do the complete a grant application, and then as long as you have at least like one or two answers in, you'll be able to go back to the home screen and then click that view application and then right click to print.
Okay, great. That's what I thought, but just wanted to make sure before getting off the call. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks, David. Again, thanks everybody for being here. We will still be here until 11, but feel free to pop off if you don't have any additional questions. For anyone still here, I did just drop our survey form for partnership interest for this program in the chat. It's kind of a wild hyperlink, but we really appreciate people filling that out and submitting their interest in being either a regional administrator or a partner in this program to help connect with other potential partners. Kayla, if you have that handy, you could bring up the list, like the actual list, to show what it looks like.
Sorry, I thought I was unmuted. Oh yeah, I'm pulling that up right now.
No worries. No worries.
So from here, like we said, that whole section is right here, and it's going to be this link.
Great, thanks. So yeah, as you can see, it provides the interest that we have received so far based on the regions identified for this program, as well as contact information provided by those.
And again, if you want it to be added to the list, just click on this form button right here.
Okay, we have a question from Hannah with Rogue Climate. Do you know if there have been any additional program administrator or program partners that have expressed interest beyond CAPO and City of Grants Pass? So we haven't had any additional interest submitted for the southern or south coast regions that aren't already shown in this chart, and we'll update it when we do. So we don't have specific entities to name there, but would be interested to hear from Road Climate, who they might have been discussing this program with. Can program partners be added after, also from Hannah, can program partners be added after the initial application is submitted? This would probably be a good question for James, and it would have to do with the development and negotiation of the performance agreements.
Thanks. Yeah, I think partners could be added after the application was submitted. Everything would just need to comply with the rules, and depending on where we are in the process, whether a performance agreement has been signed or not, we would have kind of different processes. So yes is kind of a simple answer, and then we could kind of dive into it more at what would need to happen at the time.
And just before the application portal closes, there's always the option of amending your application too.
Yeah, thanks, Kayla and James. And so then Hannah asks, did I hear correctly, the homes under this program need to be owner occupied?
Yes.
Yes, for this program, homes need to be owner occupied. I just kind of flag that we will be launching a rental home program that will be administered by the Oregon Department of Energy, and that were expected to be launched later this year. So landlords and owners of manufactured homes and RVs who are in a rented space could also access financial assistance through that program.
Thanks for your great questions, Hannah. And Hannah asked you, do we know when the rental program will be launched? To which the answer, I believe, is we don't have any specific dates, and the rules are still being finalized for that program.
Yes, that's right.
Hannah asks, how soon do funds need to be expended from this round? So I think I can take that, and you can correct me if I'm inaccurate, James. So funds to the 11 possible regional entities and tribes are expendable through the end of December in 2025. But I know that the rate at which funds are dispersed will be determined within the performance agreement. Okay, before we end the webinar, I just want to say thank you again. Please reach out to our program team if you have additional questions. And thank you for being here today.